Joining us now with more on this looming storm, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Governor, I know you're up. I know you're busy. I heard your press conference earlier. 2.5 million people have been ordered to evacuate. Every meteorologist I have spoken to says this is the real deal, and the floodings that could be as high as 12 feet, storm surges, and people could die. And tell us what the plan is.
Well, you're right, Sean. I mean, this is a Category 3. It will certainly be a Category 4 at some point. It may reach landfall as a Category 4, which is going to pack a punch in and of itself. That's going to generate a huge amount of storm surge. And then what's expected to happen is the storm is going to come onshore, and then it's going to kind of slow to a crawl. Yes, it will weaken, but it will just plod along. What that's going to do, that's going to dump massive amounts of rain. One of the things that's been challenging with this is we started a couple days ago with a land arrival projected in North Florida in the Panhandle, and then that was moved to north of Tampa, then Tampa. Now the most recent guidance from the National Hurricane Center is arrival at Charlotte County and Sarasota County border, basically. There's going to be another update at 11 o'clock. We'll see if that trend to the east continues. But, Sean, you know that part of the state very well. The further south it hits on the peninsula, that starts to bring in more major impacts for places like Fort Myers and Naples and those communities. Another thing I think it's going to be challenging is it is going to hit, and then it's basically going to go across the state and likely exit on the Atlantic coast sometime, someplace in central or northeastern Florida. And that's going to be basically a tropical storm going across the entire state of Florida. So you're going to talk about power outages. You're going to talk about a lot of rain and flooding. And so this is not just going to be limited to wherever the storm makes landfall.
Governor, let me ask you this, and I think you're sympathetic like I am. Nobody wants to be inconvenienced like this. I think you agree with me. People generally don't like to be told what to do. The worst thing, though, that could happen is if you try to ride this thing out and you're not able to, the last thing we want at the end of the day is even one person dying from this storm. That's preventable if people leave. Now, you've set up shelters all around the state of Florida, especially in the areas that are in that cone that we have up on the other side of the screen. Tell people where they can go, what you have available, and what are the plans in the aftermath of this?
Well, Sean, we have a saying down here in Florida that you hide from the wind, but you run from the water. And I think in situations like this, even a Category 4 storm, we have great building codes. A lot of our structures in Florida can withstand that. Most people's homes, maybe not a mobile home, but most people's homes can do. The problem with this storm is that it's going to generate a massive amount of water and surge. And there's really no way that you can counteract that. If you're someone on the barrier island, and even if you're in a nice sturdy home, if you get 10 feet of storm surge, that's going to potentially put your life in jeopardy. And so what we've said is, you don't get a mulligan on this. You can always go back, when the storm passes and get back into your home. We obviously want you to do that. But this is really, really significant. And yes, there's shelters in all these counties. We also have a deal with the state of Florida and Expedia. People can go to expedia.com/Florida. And there's hotels that are offering deals in other parts of the state of Florida. One thing, though, that we've been pointing out, Sean, when you're called to evacuate, it doesn't mean you need to leave the entire state. It doesn't mean you need to go hundreds of miles. In a situation like this where we're concerned about the water, anywhere that's higher ground in a sturdy structure, you're going to be able to ride it out in that. Where we're concerned about is these low-lying areas, the places that are very prone to storm surge and to flooding.
Let's talk about, you had a conversation with the president today. Earlier in the day, there had been talk that the president spoke with mayors, but not you. But apparently the president reached out to you tonight. Can you tell us about that conversation? And in the aftermath of the storm, what support Floridians can expect from the federal government?
Well, Sean, what I said today is, my phone line's open. When people's lives and their property are at risk like this, we all need to work together regardless of party lines. The Biden administration has approved our request for a pre-landfall declaration and did that very quickly. So we're thankful for that. Obviously, as the impacts are known, there's going to be more requests, particularly for individual assistance for Floridians that may have been displaced. And it's my sense that the administration, wants to help. I think they realize that this is a really significant storm, and there's a lot of people that we're working with the locals. We work very well with them, of course, at the state level, but we really need everyone working together to make sure people have their needs tended to.
Governor, let's talk about what we expect in the aftermath of this. Power outages, obviously, probably a shortage of food, water, supplies. Some people's homes likely will be damaged, probably not something that they can repair. What are the steps in place for the aftermath as this storm goes north into other states, maybe hopefully out to the Atlantic eventually?
Well, obviously, as you mentioned, Sean, we want people to be safe when it hits, and so that's our number one focus now. Once it hits, if there are people that are in need of rescue, we've got massive amounts of assets. I've got National Guard, I've got urban search and rescue teams. We have assets from other states. We have Florida Fish and Wildlife that have water operations. I have the Coast Guard helping out. So those operations, as soon as it's safe to do, they will go, and if needed, they will go to try to help people. Once you have that situation taken care of course, you want to resume services. And so getting the power back on, making sure fuel is in the gas stations, and making sure people have communications. And so we have now, between all of our utility companies, there's over 30,000 personnel stationed ready to go in to get the power back on in these communities. We've got folks on the telecommunications front that have folks ready to go in to repair any of the infrastructure that may be damaged. And the state of Florida alone, we have contracts to bring fuel in if we need that. And so those, I think, getting everybody kind of back to normal. You're right, Sean, some people's homes may end up being totally destroyed. But fortunately, most people's homes will not be. They just need to get back in there and have normal services restored. So all of that is pre-staged right now. And as soon as it's safe to go in, they're going to clear the roads and they're going to get those linemen in there to get the power back on.
All right, Governor, looks like you have every agency in Florida at your disposal for full mobilization for this storm. I know your fellow countrymen from other states are also ready to help as well for those people that are going to be in need. Our thoughts and prayers are with the great people of Florida and people that are going to be impacted by this storm. Thank you for being with us, and our best. Hopefully it won't be as bad as they're saying. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.